Hi, it's Dr. Ruud van der Beuken here again with episode 4 of 5 in my series of Gate History Talks, which I hope you are enjoying. Today I'd like to tell you about a play from 1933 called Mr Jiggins of Jigginstown. Its author, Christine Longford, was a very important figure at the early Gate. Together with her husband Edward, the 6th Earl of Longford, she supported the fledgling theatre both financially and practically. Mr Jiggins was a second play for the Gate. It is, at face value, a comedy in which three parties struggle to secure the inheritance of a sizable estate in the Midlands that is owned by Mr Horatio Jiggins, an elderly and, in their eyes, somewhat eccentric bachelor. For example, he reads verses from the Quran to his servants to acquaint them with other cultures, and he encourages two philosophical vagabonds to wander around his estate and accost passers-by. Over the course of the play, Mr Jiggins's relatives and other hopefuls hatch all kinds of plots to worm themselves into his will. But I think this farcical humour actually reveals much more serious issues. We might see Mr Jiggins's childlessness as a metaphor for how Irish independence brought an end to the old order. The Anglo-Irish upper class is now forced to consider how it will shape its legacy. One possibility is bequeathing the Jigginstown estate to cousin Georgiana, who has lived in London for most of her life but is now keen to claim Mr Jiggins's lands. Although she pretends to be interested in Ireland, she constantly betrays her real feelings. When she meets the two wandering philosophers, for example, she finds it absurd that her cousin would spend time with these natives. It becomes more and more clear that she only cares for her own class, stating, for example, that lottery winnings ought not to be given to the lower classes who don't know what to do with it. It ought to be divided up among the poor gentry like ourselves. Disappointed in his cousin's narrow-minded politics, Mr Jiggins also considers leaving his estate to the Church of Ireland, which might establish a school of architecture that should strive to improve the housing conditions for farmers. Reverend Duckworth supports these plans, but when Mr Jiggins insists on allowing Catholics to attend the school as well, the clergyman refuses. It couldn't be done. You're too visionary. Should the estate be left to Reverend Duckworth then, the sectarian tensions that already divided Irish society would only be reinforced. By the end of the play, Mr Jiggins has died and his will is read, revealing that he has bequeathed his estate to the Department of Education with a stipulation that there shall be no religious discrimination at the school that is to be founded in his name. Almost all the other characters contest Mr Jiggins's will, arguing that he must have been insane to pass them over. In a sense, though, I'd say his solution is willfully naive. Rather than promoting one class or one religion over the other, Mr Jiggins places his trust in an organisation that should, ideally, foster inclusivity. In the strongly polarised society of 1930s Ireland, that was quite a provocative statement, and that might make us think about the kinds of marginalisation that we see nowadays as well. Thanks very much for listening. In my final talk, I'll be discussing a play which sees the mythological figures of Mir and Adon coming to life again in 1940s Dublin.